All right, Shalom. When I say call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakodash, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders at GMS to rule well. Peace and blessings to the Akim that's out there fighting and doing this work with truth and sincerity. Back here again with a quick lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect men out there that's listening and watching these videos. Just a quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai, the brother. Mike Allah out here in Dallas put this in the chat about the American infrastructure. And I remember Apostle Bob brought the scripture in Ecclesiastes 10:18, where it says, by much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of hands the house droppeth through. Meaning the people that run this country, those that's over the building up this country, the infrastructure, the bridges, and so on and so forth. And you can ride and see in certain areas that the bridges need to be revamped, so to speak. By the slothfulness of hand, meaning they're like small delays that turn into big problems. And they're not concerned about the infrastructure. And if you notice, they spend a lot of their money on war, on defense. So the keepers of the house, so to speak, of this place that run this country, they don't really care about the infrastructure of this place. And there's a short that Mike Allah put up, and I was thinking about that. I was like, that's another video of Barakatha Yahweh Shai, man. It says in the NLT, laziness leads to a sagging roof. Idleness leads to a leaky house, man. And over time, in avoiding the bridges, the aqueducts or whatever, the dams, the things that you need to run the country, when they go unnoticed over time and avoiding the responsibilities, things get weak. The infrastructure get weak. Again, the laziness is like small delays that turn into big problems. If you don't take care of your infrastructure, things start to decay. I'm gonna play this right here, just for educational purposes only.
American infrastructure is bad.
The dramatic train derailment, bridge collapse.
Be on the lookout for potholes. Our most recent infrastructure reports are our roads get a D+, our drinking water get a C-, and everything else somewhere in between. It has improved.
Now, you need all that for a functioning and healthy, so-called healthy society. But the leadership lack discipline, and this nation is growing weak. The leadership structure don't care about that. They want to just go and heap all other people resources from their land and barely put anything back over here in this infrastructure, man. The infrastructure that they're building is AI, or one of those buildings, data centers, and defense, and it's cybersecurity. So they're not caring about the roads and the bridges. Yeah, in some areas you have people complaining, they'll fix the roads here and there, but overall, this place infrastructure is on a low level.
Slightly since the Biden infrastructure bill of 2021. 2025 was the first time since 1998 where no category scored a D-, which, for the richest civilization in human history, is a really sad brag. In any case, American infrastructure spending remains a tiny band-aid on a bullet wound. It's estimated that we need roughly $9.1 trillion in infrastructure spending to bring our current infrastructure into a state of good repair. This decade, we face an infrastructure investment gap that, if not addressed, or more accurately, when it's not addressed, will cost the U.S. almost $10 trillion in lost GDP by 2039. And spending on infrastructure works. Every dollar spent on infrastructure results in an ensuing $1.50 in economic activity. Compare that to the military, where an increase in spending by 1% decreases a country's economic growth by 9%, and also, kills innocent people. We spend less on infrastructure than most comparable OECD nations, and just 1/10 of what China spends as a percentage of GDP. We used to spend a comparable amount to China until something happened in 1980, and that number was cut in half, where it's remained ever since, leaving us in a position where American infrastructure is bad.
The dramatic train derailment.
It's a D+ on a lot of this stuff, D-, I would say. So the leadership lack discipline, and they're avoiding the responsibilities that's turning a small problem into a big problem concerning the infrastructure. This young man was talking about the bridges, then derailings, oil spills, shit, you name it, man. So by much slothfulness, the building decayeth, and through idleness of hands, the house droppeth through. And to prove that this is a house, you can, oh shit, Salaki, go to the same book We're going to Ecclesiastes 12:3, where it says, in the day when the keepers of the house, in the day that everything is going to basically meet its demise. So the keepers of the house are the financial guys, the ones on Wall Street, your financial analyst, those that's in charge of the financial part of this country, your leadership of it. Now, you have something called futures. You have people that basically can foresee the numbers concerning people that invest in certain things to make people money, and they can understand the outcome. That's why it's called futures. So the keepers of the house, those who understand, again, the financial analysts, the people on Wall Street, your financial guys, and those that understand futures. You can look up futures. There's a such thing called futures that people can foresee numbers and to make sure your investment go well, or to tell you to wait on that investment because they study these things. Back in the ancient world, you had a city called Miktesh. Now today, that's equal to Wall Street today. So the keepers of, and so in that day, when the keepers of the house, so again, the keepers of the house lacked discipline and poor leadership on the infrastructure of this place. Meanwhile, other countries are still doing what they have to do, but they make sure that their infrastructure is on point. You know, China made their bullet train and a lot of other things. They're down in Africa building things. You know what I mean? So a lot of powerful countries, they work on their infrastructure, man. You might see in Texas, they building on highways and, you know, things of that nature because the FIFA game is coming here in June, I believe. This year, I believe, talking about the FIFA game. That's going to be huge. So in that day, when the keepers of the house shall tremble, those who, the financial guys, the financial analysts, and those that understand what they call futures. So a time is going to come along with this place decaying on the infrastructure level. It's decaying on the spiritual level because the Lord has a date set for this place where he's going to judge it. So the keepers of the house shall tremble because your money, your financial analysts, your institutions, it's not going to prevent or stop the things that's coming to this place. That's why they want to move to a digital currency. You see, that's spoken of in the book of Revelation, chapter 13. So they're going to tremble in that day when they're not going to have any answers. And it's going to say it primarily in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men bow themselves and the grinders cease, meaning the jobs are ceasing. AI is going to replacing a lot of jobs, and it's going to get worse. And on top of that, you have something called the retail apocalypse. And then here recently, I did a video and other brothers on so many Popeyes or so many Denny's and things of that nature are closing down nationwide. So the grinding and ceasing, right, due to prophecy at the end of the day. So your jobs you're not going to have jobs. People going to be without a lot of jobs, and they want AI to come in to take over a lot of jobs because you don't have to pay AI. You can just work AI 24/7 around the clock. All right. And the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, meaning those that understand the financial part of it. That again, something that goes into futures, where you have people that can foresee the numbers concerning the people that's investing. They're going to look out their window and not realize that they don't have any answers because they don't have the spiritual understanding as to what's taking place, man. You see? And the doors shall be shut in the streets, meaning the businesses are closing down. The next event that take place, all the small businesses go down and be wiped out completely. And it's going to be the conglomerate businesses that go take over, man. When the sound of the grinding is low, not many jobs, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird meaning your alarm clock that wakes you up to go to work on time, to get up and eat breakfast, work out, get dressed or whatever. So the grind is going to be low, and the keepers of the house not going to have no understanding. On top of the infrastructure that's decaying, the Lord is visiting this place, man. And you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, again, the Lord is extending his hand of mercy unto his people, man, to turn from your ways, come back and repent. The grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughter of music shall be brought low. Look at the music versus the music back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's not even music anymore. It's a bunch of noise at the end of the day. You may have a so-called few little rappers with a little cadence here and there. Okay, yeah, great, fine. But we talking about actual music. It's not like that anymore. People trying to relive the old days. That's why you have radio stations that that continue to play the old school music versus today's music. So the infrastructure, the businesses, people losing jobs, all this stuff is going down, man. And the keepers of the house, those that understand the financial aspect of things, they're not going to have any understanding as to why this is taking place. But the men of the Lord from Yahweh, Bahashim Habashai, is out on the highways and byways breaking these things down unto you, man. And we see it spiritually right now before us because we've been given the spiritual eye salve to be able to see these things. So when the brother put this up in the chat, it made me think about Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. Because the leadership of this place lacked discipline in a lot of ways. And you seeing what's happening in the Middle East. And it will prompt you to understand and know like something ain't right. Something is about to take place. And you would, again, get your life in order, get your house in order, man. Ecclesiastes 10 and 18, by much slothfulness, the building decayeth. Being lazy, moving slow, sluggish. You know, they're basically spending money on defense, military, AI, databases. You see, the bridges are falling. Cock to be low, humiliated. Decaying things, the bridges, overpaths, so on and so forth, because the leadership lack discipline, man, and this place is going down on a spiritual level, the infrastructure level, and the financial level, to the point they're going to want to usher in that's spoken of in Revelations 13 and 16, where it said he causes both all small and great, rich and poor, free or bond, to receive a mark. And the word mark goes into charagma inside the right hand or the forehead. They're going to try to put it in your left hand too. So this is what this thing is heading to. So Lord willing, I hope this is edifying. Until the next time, I shall say, Shalom.
Bridge collapsing.
Be on the lookout for potholes. Our most recent infrastructure reports.
A while back, you had a lot of sinkholes that was taking place as well, you know?
Our roads get a D+, our drinking water get a C-, and everything else somewhere in between. It has improved slightly since the Biden infrastructure bill of 2021. 2025 was the first time since 1998 where no category scored a D-, which, for the richest civilization in human history, is a really sad brag. In any case, American infrastructure spending remains a tiny band-aid on a bullet wound. It's estimated that we need roughly $9.1 trillion in infrastructure spending to bring our current infrastructure into a state of good repair. This decade, we face an infrastructure investment gap that, if not addressed, or more accurately, when it...
With that, Shalom.